everybody. Welcome to the first official Aroundtable.ca podcast. I'm your host, Phil, with my colleagues, Steven, Dino, my brother Dino, and Johnny. We're here to review movies for you for the summer movie madness coming up. Summer is always a big blockbuster movie season, and this year doesn't seem to be any different. So guys, let's get started on the list. So Steven, I think you had
Okay, first up, Guardians of the Galaxy. Right? It's a hit. It's 500 million worldwide so far. Marvel's formula is working. This movie is funny, action-packed, got the sci-fi, got the special effects, got a great cast. It's a no-brainer. You want to see a good movie this summer, I don't think anybody will be disappointed, and that's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steven. And it was one of the first ones of the summer, huh? So
yeah.
I think it was very entertaining overall.
Exactly. It's entertaining, it's lighthearted, and Marvel's formula so far is working. And this one is no different. I walked out very entertained. Everyone was good in it. The only thing that bothered me, in a sense, was that you had to know, the backstories when they listed all the planets. That means something to the diehard Marvel fans of that series, and all the little Easter eggs. You had to know, Stallone is a former Guardian. If you didn't know that, you're looking at it blankly. That's the only thing that was my concern, was all these Easter eggs are strictly for diehards. But other than that, everything was great about the movie. I can't say enough about it. I loved it. As much as the first one, I loved it.
And also, but then maybe all these Easter eggs is because it's to need to know later on. Too much information right away, people get confused, they get frustrated. So they like Londo. When I was the first time I see him, I was like, okay, Yondo. It didn't click. Then later on, when I see him put that red fit, it goes, oh, Guard of the Galaxy of the comic book of the 80s and 90s. Then it clicked. So it's like they're trying to surprise, and there's a lot of things that happen in the movie that never happened in the comic book. Like Ego the Planet, it was never Star-Lord's father. So they changed a lot of things, saying, look, what's in the movie is not going to be anything close to the comic book. There's some resemblance, and that's it. That's why I loved it. And I paid full price, and I found it was worth it. Which most movies I would like to get half my money back. But this one here was worth every cent.
And also what's beneficial of having a movie, because it was pretty much the movie, you can maybe argue that maybe Fate of the Furious was the starter. But this one was actually, or even those two, Guardians, it kicks off the summer movie season well. And it gets people excited to go watch other movies. If those two movies would have been a massive flop, people would have been in
trouble.
Exactly. People would have been hesitant, and they wouldn't go see the other movies that come out. I'm not saying it would affect everyone, but at least it starts off the season pretty well.
And the reason it started with a bang, because Baby Groot had the detonator. Groot, he pressed the button and exploded. That's why it started good. That's why it started with a bang. So Baby Groot.
All right, so the next one on the list,
Wonder Woman.
Okay. For me, the trailers look great. This could be the movie that turns DC around and gets them up to par to Marvel. Whether it happens, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I love the trailers. It looks like it's going to be kind of like the Captain America, what's it about World War I.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I'm confident about it, but we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, this could be the movie that turns DC around and finally gets them neck and neck with Marvel.
Or getting noticed.
Yeah.
In the Marvel world.
Because we all know Batman, Superman was not everybody's cup of tea. Suicide Squad, not everybody's cup of tea.
It was close, but not
But this, like I said, this could be the turning point. And hopefully that and leading into Justice League will get them in gear.
Let's hope that the trailers are not the best parts of the movie, and that's what
I hope so.
And that's my concern with Wonder Woman. Yes, it looks great with the trailers, But let's see the movie to really judge there.
Well, the thing, Wonder Woman, the trailer I did see, it's like if you remember back Captain America, the first trailer they made for Captain America #1, it was almost the same thing. It was very like a little bit of information, but the Captain America, what made it amazing was the storyline. And I think Wonder Woman has potential to be, as Steven said, he's stealing my words from my brains. Exact same thing. Wonder Woman could actually put DC on the chart. I mean, Batman did an amazing job. We're forgetting about those guys. But Wonder Woman, yeah. And it looks very well done, very realistic. I think it's going to be a great hit.
And I online though, and I think that's the concern, that it looks too much like Captain America. And in a way, they're kind of very similar. They're very tightly linked together, right? Two people that are very strong. She has the lasso and the things on her forearms that get stop bullets, stuff like that. And you have Captain America with his shield. It's the first complaint that I saw online of the first trailer that they gave Wonder Woman is that it was very close to Captain America. And I just hope that they didn't copy it too much, because then they're gonna people are just gonna complain just as much, saying, "Yeah, this was already done like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, or whatever." But the trailer does look good. They did invest quite a bit on the graphics, the CGI, and that. It looks good, and let's just hope that the story follows.
All right.
So Wonder Woman in the bag. Next.
Ball Cop, Bad Cop 2. I loved the first one years ago. I'm looking forward to this. Whether it's going to be a global box office phenomenon, I doubt it. I think it's just going to be here in Quebec and Canada. But you know what? A funny movie is a funny movie. I laughed out loud during the trailer, and that doesn't happen too often. And so I'm looking forward to that. And it's pushing our own province, our own country, to deliver great goods, and I think this is one of them that's going to really do great box office here and make us proud.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steven. Bon Cop, Bad Cop, the actors have great chemistry together. You saw that in the first one, and in the trailer, it seems to be the same thing.
Yeah, it's like they never left. It's like they're still together.
Even though it's 10 years later, they still have it. So I think it'll be a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, what I like about good Bon Cop, Bad Cop is they have a realistic flair. Right? Both guys, you look at the American movies, comedies, and all that, everything looks too perfect. Guys are great looking, those beautiful women. This one looks very true in a realistic world. And the jokes in there, like, I seen the trailer, and certain jokes are so original, I laughed at it. So I wish that's not the best jokes they have. But I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more funny things coming out of that movie. Well, I think it's going to be a good hit.
Well, obviously, if the thing is, and Steven is right, it's one of those local hits.
Yeah.
Domestically, I think it's gonna do well. The first movie did really, really well. This one, I think it's gonna do just as well as domestically. The thing about the jokes, the first one had a very. It's one of those things where Quebec French humor is a very different from English humor in the rest of Canada. It's very often one doesn't work on the other. Quebec humor doesn't really go well in the west of Canada, and the same thing is vice versa. So the thing that was really good about the first movie, it was able to combine both to make it appealing to everyone. Not everyone's going to get the jokes for sure, because there's a lot of stuff that's internal. But I think it's gonna do really well, and the first one was hilarious. So I saw the preview for the second one, and I did laugh as well. And so I think this one's gonna be at least a pretty big hit in Quebec and Canada. For sure.
Well, they'll make their money and more.
Yeah,
easily.
Well, the first one was good, so they're gonna get obviously the repercussions of having a good first movie. Now, if it prolongs, that will determine if people like the movie or not.
Oh, I see a third one coming in. Next movie, Steven.
We got Transformers: The Last Night. This is the second one to feature that has Mark Wahlberg instead of Shia LaBeouf. Does that make a difference to me? No. Michael Bay, I hate this guy as a director. Everything has to explode. There's not one character that I like anymore.
How do you feel, Steven?
I think it's going to rank up there with Casablanca and whatever. It's going to be the greatest movie of all time for sure. No, all kidding aside, it's going to be the same thing. Michael Bay makes everything explode, and it looks great doing so. The fights always look blurry. You never really get to enjoy the battle scenes between Autobots and Decepticons. It seems always blurry. You can bring Anthony Hopkins in like they did. Bottom line, it's going to be explosions, explosions, explosions. And at the end, they're just going to sell a Transformer toy.
I'm the same. I have the exact same feeling, and the reason why I'm even more frustrated is that I used to be a big fan of the original Transformers cartoons, right, when I was a kid. And one of the reasons why it was so appealing is you had a connection with Optimus Prime and the Autobots, and you really wanted to root for them to always come up on top. And Michael Bay managed to do the one thing that's almost impossible to do, is devoid any attachment to any character. I have no attachment to Optimus Prime. I have no attachment to any of the characters in the movie. It's void of any chemistry. It just looks like it's a bunch of explosions everywhere, and they kind of have this weak storyline in the background. I don't know why, but it's going to make money, like every other Transformers movie that always makes money. But that's at the bottom of the list for me. If it's free, maybe on TV, I'll watch it eventually. But there's no way I'm going to go watch this at the movies for sure.
I'm on the same page as you on that one.
I agree with you guys. You would think that with all the comic books, with all the material they have, they would be able to come up with a much better storyline than what they put out there. And I think it's they don't really care as long as it makes money, I think.
Well, my opinion is this. You guys all forget it. It's fed for the kids. They could easily have made it dark, made it more realistic, more like Terminator kind of storyline, invasion of the Ultrons and all that kind of thing. But the thing is, they want to feed it to one clientele, and that's the kids, to make money. And kids, like Philip, you said before, when you're young, that's what you want. You want action, you want cars breaking and this and that, special effect and everything. Us getting older now, we're looking for a storyline. So Transformers is the kind of movie you bring like kids to there, and that's it. Because they could easily have made it very dark. But for me, let's put it this way. Will I spend my go see Transformer regular price? No, thank you, no way. I'll go to the theater, special day. But that's it. Because I know the storyline, it's fed for the kids. It's good, but not good enough for me. And that's all I can tell.
Well, I kind of agree with that, and it's for a younger crowd, a younger generation. But the thing about Michael Bay movies, they're devoid of any story.
Yeah.
Like you can put two. Basically, it could be a special on TLC or TBS of the 100 best explosions ever in movies,
and 99 would be his.
It's basically he's great at explosions. That's it.
That's what he's known for.
Yeah, but even Transformers as a kid, like Phil, I fell in love with these characters, and even as a kid, I wanted to see action. The action wouldn't have meant a damn thing if I didn't give a damn about the character. I didn't want, like when Optimus Prime died in the Transformers movie, I was upset. Now that he dies in every single Michael Bay movie, I don't care. I don't care at all.
Because now we know he's going to be revived.
Even if he's revived, even if they say he's not going to be revived, I don't care. That's the problem. I go there looking at it going, I don't care. I'd rather go see the Transformers movie that I saw 20 years ago. It's still not great now, but it still has a story, and I cared that Optimus Prime died.
It's like, let's put it this way. Like, take the example, Avengers of the Age of Ultron, then you have the Guardians of the Galaxy. They both have a lot of characters. One of them like Guardians of the Galaxies, you get to know the characters, you understand each other's opinion. While the Avengers, to me, was very blah. Transform is like that. There's so much characters, but each one of them, you know it. It's a trademark to make money from kids to sell toys. And you know it's fed more for the kids than to the adults. And you cannot expect more out of the next one. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be new figurines with new powers and new configuration of figures because they want more money. And that's what it's going to be.
So we agree it's a hit, but no one's going to really care about anything about it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It won't be a classic.
It won't be a classic that you'll tell your kids about.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell my kids not to watch it, probably.
All right, next.
Okay, I have War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Now, for me, of all the reboots lately, that's the one that kicked my ass. The first two installments I thought were phenomenal.
Yeah.
From creating great characters, good storyline, and you know what? Andy Serkis doing that live action movement of Caesar and everybody else who did the other apes was just breathtaking. Mm-hmm. I cannot stress how excited I am for this one. I hope this one is just as good as the first two because seriously, of all the reboots of late, this is the one that kicked my ass.
And you know what's the best thing is that from all these movies, and we know that these are going to make money for sure. Like Planet of the Apes is going to make money.
I hope.
But from all the movies that are out there as a franchise, I find it's a very underrated franchise, the reboot.
Yeah.
And in some cases, I mean, I've watched the original, the ones that came out in the 60s. There's a few movies that are good, but these ones are so well thought out, and you're engaged in the movie in every installment. Like, this is the type of franchise that I would, when it's all said and done, I wouldn't mind doing a binge of all the movies all together, a bit like a Lord of the Rings, or it's one of those movies. Like, so far, they've nailed it every time, and I've loved it. So, and the previews for this one don't seem to be too bad either, and the premise of it is pretty good as well. So, I think it's gonna do. I don't think it's gonna make the most money of all these movies coming out, but I think it's gonna make a pretty decent amount. And if they continue on the same level of quality that they've done in the past, I think it's going to do really well, and it's going to, especially on rentals, it's going to do amazing as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I started watching the reboots because I didn't go see the first two in the theater, but when I did watch them at home, I was very surprised of how good the storyline and everything. What you guys said there, I totally agree with you guys. And I think this one is going to do very well. It's
one of the few times I found James, at least in the first movie, I found like he wasn't annoying.
Yeah.
Like he was actually acting.
Yes.
Like, and I was like, at the end, like I wanted him to appear in the other one. That's how much like I found that he acted really well in that movie. Every other movie he's in, yeah, I understand his appeal, but I'm not a huge fan of his. But they managed to make me a fan of him in this movie. And that's not easy to do, at least for me.
Yeah, agreed.
It's like Steven said before. Remember, we were saying Optimus Prime in the Transformer, when he dies, you have no emotional. Planet of the Apes, can't stand the movie because I love it too much. The second one, the last one, I hated, at a certain point, I hated humans. Then all of a sudden, I hated apes. And then I had to kind of emotionally cool myself down because I was getting too involved. And I go to myself, okay, Jimmy, you're so stupid. It's just a movie. Yeah, but I want to kill that guy. I want to kill that ape. That's how good this movie is. You get so interacted so easily. It's so well done. And as you guys says, it is one of the best franchise remake ever. Oh yeah, Planet of the Apes. To me, I can like when it comes up the third, I'm watching the 1 and 2 before I go see it again with pleasure. It's that's one of the best.
All right, so consensus. I think we all.
It's not going to be the biggest hit of the summer, but I think the fan base is there, and it's going to make as much as the first two installments. I think pretty easily.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so next on the list.
Next is Alien Covenant. It's following the mixed reviews of Prometheus. The only thing I like about it is Ridley Scott is back as director. That's the only one of the few things that's keeping me interested. He's the guy who started it all. He brought it back with Prometheus. People hated it. I loved it. But it still became one of the top 10 moneymakers of the summer. So there was going to be a sequel. This one seems to be a little bit more easygoing on the storyline and back to the horror base. So perhaps that will help it. Whether it's going to be the biggest movie of the summer, I doubt it. It's another one like kind of like Planet of the Apes. It has its fan base. It's going to make a certain amount regardless what we say or any critic says. There's a fan base. It's there, and people are going to go see it.
I think it's one of those movies that always tries to attain the level of the first one, and they're never able to get it. Even the second Aliens and the third one and whatever, it never captured the chemistry or the highlights of the first one. I think everybody always wants it to be as good as the first one, and they always want to compare it to it, but I don't think it's ever going to do it, and it's a detriment to it. So I think when people go see the movie, even though it's a decent movie, they're going to say it's not great because it's not as good as the first one. Even though, and on top of that, Ridley Scott is back in this one. And especially if it's not up to par as the first one, they're going to, especially the fact that he's back,
Well, look, even Prometheus, he was back and people slammed it. It still did well. And I liked it because it was different than the other ones. And it was a different story. You can't recapture the first one. It's been done. That was the one that it took us by surprise. Nobody knew what we were going to get. And you're not going to get, lightning doesn't strike twice, not too often. We got lucky with Guardians of the Galaxy and Planet of the Apes, but how many franchises can you say that every installment is just as good as the first? There's not too many out there. This is another case. You have a brilliant director, good story writers, and they hit, like, the first two are arguably the strongest in the franchise, and it's never going to get better than that.
Go for it, Dino.
No, all I wanted to say is that the only other franchise I would put in the same category would be the Batman reboot, the 3 movies. That was very well done.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Look, like example, Philip was right in a sense because Alien, the first one, took everybody by surprise because we were used to seeing like cute aliens or aliens with laser. All of a sudden, this thing uses humans as a host, and they come out of the guy's stomach, intestines going around, and they just run away like little harmless aliens, and they come like the indestructible aliens. So once you see that, you know what you get in the second and the third and the fourth. So in the past, maybe the storyline, the second and third wasn't evolved enough. Maybe this time they learned their mistake, like Batman, as Dino said. If you compare the first 3 Batmans with those bad actors, I'm not crazy about none of them, and you compare the last 3 of them, it's a big dramatic change. So maybe same thing with this Alien. To me, it's with a question mark with Alien. I'm gonna go see it, not at full price, a regular, but I'm gonna see it to see where the direction goes, because if it's exactly like Prometheus, I'll love it. And if they're trying to remake the original one par to par, then I'm gonna hate it.
Well, the best comparison I can actually give it to, it's because back in the day, right? Aliens was a sci-fi horror, essentially. It was a horror movie in space,
and it was original.
Yes, but you can make the parallel with The Exorcist. The Exorcist made it a standard for scary movies, and once that came out, every other scary movie that came after that, in the same genre or type of a movie, you kind of been there, then did that type of thing where I've seen it before. How much more can I be scared? And I think Aliens had that same effect. The first one, everybody was thrown back at how scary it was, and it was sci-fi, and it was awesome. And I think that you have to look at each movie in a fresh eye, and you can't keep comparing it to the original. If people look at it, like Steven said, if people look at it as its own individual movie, I think it's going to do okay. If people keep wanting to compare it to previous Alien movies, or at least the original, that's where I think it's going to fail, because I don't think it's ever going to live up to that standard.
Well, you look at the fast. Every horror movie, the best horror movie is the first one. Then all the rest is like, okay, seen it, did it, done it.
Yeah.
So is Aliens be the same thing? Well, we're gonna find out. That's it. Let's go to the next one.
Next one is Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. My thing for that's getting me excited. It's I like the director Luc Besson. He did Leon the Professional, one of the best action movies of all time. He did The Fifth Element. I love The Fifth Element. He's also done Lucy. He's producing the Transporter movies and the Taken movies. He's never had a gigantic box office hit, but he's respected in the industry and among movie fanatics such as myself and us here. This is the biggest movie from France, over 200 million to create, on a French comic book that nobody knows about, and a cast that we're not really familiar with. I mean, Cara Delevingne we know her from Suicide Squad, and that was her biggest hit. Does it have the box office clout to make it? I think it's going to be a sleeper hit for that, but it has a lot going it for me because like I said, I like Luc Besson's style. But I don't know if it's going to be a big hit because nobody knows about this. According to America or in Canada, it's not something that's well known. I mean, I've never heard of this series of comic books until now. And that's all I can say about it. I'm looking forward to it, but whether it's a hit, I think this one's going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies where if you don't have anything else to watch, you'll go watch that. It seems interesting. The cast itself doesn't look too bad. You do have Ethan Hawke. I don't know why Herbie Hancock is there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do Rocket. Do some breakdancing in the middle. John Goodman's in there too. Rihanna. So there are Clive Owen as well. So there are some names in there. But I think I haven't seen much in terms of promotion, or I don't even know what the storyline is for it per se. But the actual synopsis and plot seems to be interesting, and I kind of like those time traveling type of movies. So it's one of those things where I do agree with Steven. I think it's going to be in the middle of the pack, and it's not. I don't think it's going to do that well at the box office, to be honest.
Well, I'm probably going to go and see it because it's Luc Besson. That's why I like his movies, so I'm already sold.
Let's put it this way. Movies we have to say, special effect, visual effect, it's getting so well done that it gets overdone that you get used to it. Now, this one visual, it looks incredible, amazing. It's the storyline. For me, it's going to be like another Guardian of the Galaxy. It's going to be low-key. Will it make it a hit or not? We don't know. But I'm going to go see it. But with hesitation. It's like, is it going to be only emphasizing mostly on visual, or is it going to be a great storyline? Or is it going to be very tacky, in a sense it's fit for the teenager era and all that? So that's it. It doesn't really thrill me 100% to go see that movie, unless I have no choice. And that's it for me.
Okay. Next, Spider-Man Homecoming. Finally, Marvel has gotten the rights or shared the rights for Spider-Man. What am I going to say? Marvel is on a roll. This looks no different. It looks fun. It looks entertaining. You got Robert Downey Jr. in there, and you got Michael Keaton playing Vulture.
Yeah.
I think those are the grabbers for me. Again, it's just Marvel right now. They can do no wrong, and I see the Marvel train just keep going, making hit, and this is no different. I love the guy who plays Spider-Man now, and I think this is going to be huge no matter what. Even though we've had so many Spider-Man reboots, this is just, I think, the one that's going to resonate a lot more with fans than the last couple.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of disagree. I've kind of got Spider-Man fatigue. It was great when he was in the event in the movie as a minor role, but to have another full-blown Spider-Man movie where I really hope they don't go into his origin story, because to be honest, Uncle Ben, he can die. He's been dead. He's been told like 17,000 times, and
Maybe he's part of the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? It's part of Marvel and Disney. They just bring him back, right?
Yeah,
As a ghost.
but it's one of those things where I'm really not. It looks. I will admit that it does look good, but I just can't get myself to go watch another Spider-Man movie. The original one with Tobey Maguire, the first two were good. They really missed the boat on the third one.
Agreed.
With Venom, they could have done something so much better, and they kind of dropped the ball on that. Then they rebooted it again with the first. And usually before reboots used to take like 30 years before something was getting rebooted. Now they're getting rebooted every 5 years. Yeah. At one point, unless it's digging into a story that not too many people have any knowledge about. I'm not. I don't know. I'm hoping it's going to make money for sure. That's guaranteed. And because it's Marvel. Again, they're going to make money. For me, I'm not sold on it, though. I don't think I'm going to go see it at the movies. I'll wait for it to come out on video. And that's it. That's my take.
I agree with Philip that they could have waited a little longer before rebooting it. Rebooting it every 4 or 5 years, it's a little too much, I think. However, I'm a Spider-Man fan, so I'm going to go and see it. That's for sure.
Here's the thing. They're not rebooting Spider-Man in a sense, because if you look at Marvel, they didn't reboot how they rebooted Spider-Man. They didn't go back to the origin, how he got created and everything, because they got smart. They know that people are fed up of, if you're seeing another, like I said, his Uncle Ben getting killed again, and this, and how the spider stung him, how he got his power. So they went straight him from being into the Avengers. No, it was Captain America, Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Civil War, correct.
Yeah, Civil War.
And right now, I see, and you look at Spider-Man, it's right away into, he's fighting the Vulture, and there's nothing to do but his origin. I hope so, because I seen with the trailer. So, yeah, and I agree with Philip. If I go in there and they start talking about his origin, how he got his power, I'm going to try to get a gun and shoot my brains out, because then it'll be really over-exaggerated. But it has potential. Like, if Marvel is smart enough, they know people are fed up of his origin. Like, or Uncle Ben is young, or he's old, or Aunt May is a sexy aunt or an ugly old aunt. Enough is enough. Just go to the action part.
Well, you do have to admit, though, she is a lot hotter than all the other ones.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
She got my spider senses tingling. That's for sure.
I don't say no more. Who's your mama? Like, who's your aunt? Who's your aunt?
Oh, but I do agree, though, that in Captain America, though, it was the perfect cameo.
Yeah.
And that's where I know I'm going to go a bit on a tangent, but just give me a few minutes.
Sure.
This is where Marvel succeeds and DC fails. If you look at the two movies that were multicasted in terms of characters, and if you look at the way Superman versus Batman was done, and you look at the way Captain America Civil War was,
it's got bad dialogue.
No, regardless of bad dialogue, the DC version, the DC universe, it felt super rushed. It felt as if every scene was like a race against time to try and get you to understand where they're coming from. Whereas Marvel, even though there were so many more characters, you don't feel overwhelmed by the number of characters there were. Yes, there were a lot of characters, but they just gave enough information for you to be informed, but to be entertained as well, and to kind of know where their powers come in. And that's the part that DC movies don't have. They seem to miss that little one thing to just make the movie a little bit better. It's not just, you can't just tell the story. You have to build it, in a bit. No matter how minute it is, you have to build a bit the character. And with Spider-Man, they did it was the perfect thing. It was just that little 5-10 minute scene with the ant and him in his room and whatever, and Iron Man going to see him, Tony Stark. It was perfect. So yeah, that's it. So I think they're going to do a good job of the movie itself. But yeah, I think we should.
It's called creative team. They've got an amazing creative team, Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I didn't want to see or hear another Spider-Man, but this looks good. I think what Marvel does differently, like Philip said, they take the time to build a character, and like they had all these individual movies of Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, you name it. They've built it up slowly to get it to the point where it is where you feel part of the building process of this universe. And I think DC just took, especially with Batman and Superman, took every good idea that DC had in the last 30 years and threw it in there. You know, Batman looks cool in armor, put it in. Doomsday was cool, put him in. What do we need? We need a woman in there that's strong. Get Wonder Woman, throw her in. It's just everything but the kitchen sink in that movie. While Marvel took their time and did it right, and that's all I can say. But this Spider-Man looks fun. Whether it's my top priority, no, but it is fun, and I'll probably catch it one day for sure.
Sorry for cutting it short. This wasn't meant to be a two-parter, but we ended up talking longer than we expected. So this is part one. Hope that you guys liked it for the first ever episode. Part two will be next week, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you want to let us know if you like the show or not, we appreciate the feedback. You can let us know via email at allaroundtable@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook at Aroundtable.ca. You can also follow us on Twitter at Aroundtable.ca with 2 R's, so ARR. And also, don't forget, we have our reviews, our weekly reviews, movies, comics, video games, and music every week. So Aroundtable.ca. All right, guys. Part 2 next week. Stay tuned.